Now, before you tune off and go crying, okay, and yelling at me, don't yell at me. I'm going to break it down for you, but I just want to lay some foundations. I want to lay some foundations for you so that we can let's get into our heads and out of our feelings. If love had been the number one protocol for procreation, you and I probably wouldn't exist, because your ancestors married out of responsibility and duty to their families. A man would marry in days of old because he didn't have sexual access without marriage, because sexual access equaled reproductivity. Okay, so there was no birth control pill. There were no condoms. Okay, the most a man could do was pull out. And if you're of Jewish religion, of Hebrew religion, and you pulled out, that was a sin. Right? So, of course, a man had to marry because it was understood, and it was logical that if you have sex with a woman, she's going to have your baby, unless we have, fertility issues. So therefore, you have to marry because we need to establish the longevity and the well-being of the offspring. So why does the modern man have to marry when women are on contraception? When contraception means sex doesn't necessarily equal childbirth or reproduction. So that's why men don't marry as they used to before. But there are still motivations for men marrying. And those motivations are for sexual and sensual stability. That's the motivation for men. And the primary motivation for women is financial stability and status. Based on the research that was done by Harvard in the 90s. Maybe things have changed. I would love to see more research, and I might do more of that. But I think fundamentally, those things still remain the reason. So men now marry because they want sexual stability with a woman that they find attractive, physically, mentally, emotionally. They don't want to be out here in these streets running up and down, competing with younger men for pretty girls. They just want to find a girl that's beautiful enough, nice enough, sweet enough, kind enough to have consistent sexual interaction with. Okay? And they want to have, a home, a nice cozy home to come to at the end of every day. And they would like to have children with that one woman. That's the ideal, right? But men don't need to be in love. They don't need the funfair we need, which is why women marry so badly, right? That's why women marry so badly. Men tend to marry well. They settle more than we do, that's for sure. But they tend to choose a woman that makes sense. They choose a woman that makes sense to them, their world, their mom, their sister. They make logical and rational decisions about their partner. Because they're not flooded by these emotional needs that we want to impose on them. Like, if a man's not going to fall in love with me, he's not going to be worthy of marriage, right? We're so obsessed, and that's why there's so many of us that are single, because we just want... If women dated the way men do, like in the olden days, a man would have to come to her father with gifts, a dowry. We just have to go back to biblical truth. We look at Rebecca, right? The servant had to go with gold, with silver, with gifts. Women didn't marry for love. They married for stability. Somebody says we buy the cow if we can get the milk for free. Why buy the cow? Culture is very common these days, unfortunately. Yeah. I mean, men will buy a cow that they're getting milk from. They do, because the concept of who they marry now is not what it used to be. If you're going to hold out on giving a man sexual access, that better be about your values, who you think who you are, your relationship with God, and your values about yourself. Don't make it about whether he'll marry you or not. Men are marrying hoes. Okay, they're marrying the women they're sleeping with. I hate to break it to you, but that's what's up. And if you want to tell yourself any other story, ladies, it's up to you. If you want your pastor to tell you a different kind of story, that's up to you. Your sexual selectiveness, your sexual protocols are about you, your self-respect. They're about you, your mental health. They're about you. A man's not going to marry you because you said no to sex, right? He's just going to sleep with other women. So we need to get those ideas out of our heads, okay? And that's another video for another time.